working on the focus. All right, here we go. Let's get started. So we're gonna start with an articulated streamer. We did a couple that I liked. So we're just gonna recreate them. The ones that I liked were this one here, with marabou, olive over white, flashy dubbing for the body, but I like the slim profile. There's one articulation in there, and then I like the length and the kind of the width, length and the width. So it has the perfect amount of material on it, in my opinion. So I want to redo this pattern, and then the other pattern is similar, also an olive over white, a little bit more compact, smaller hook, also one articulation, and using bucktail, kind of like a double deceiver, but tied as a trout pattern. So we're going to do those two. Let's get our frog off the vise, and then let's make some shanks, and let's get tying. For the shanks, we'll use some 0.8 millimeter wire. We had a spool of it sitting here, so we need to find it. Let's get rid of some of this hair, because we don't need it. Some slobbing. Put the dubbing away. Put the CDC away. Put the feathers back in the bag. And I was hoping that we might need these, some silicone, barred silicone legs. I need a flash and the wire. We might need this as well. There's a piece of hackle stuck on there. All right, so here's our wire. Pretty flexible. We're gonna take a chunk of it off. Just gonna eyeball it. It's gonna double back. We don't want the shank too big. So we'll take a piece of our wire, and we'll crimp it. We'll bring one side down, lying. You want to make a right angle. So if this side is, well, how would you describe this? Is it offsetting angle? So then bring the other bend up this way. Paperclip is inline. This is offline. So one is over here, the other is over there. And then once you have that, you can squeeze down your eyelets nice and tight, and then take the other end, bring it close, and squeeze down the eyelet nice and tight so it's going over itself. And that's pretty rough, but that's essentially the shank. Any shank you buy is gonna have this shape. Yeah, that's it, and that is a good size for us. We will tie this end, so this is lying flat. It'll connect to the hook flat, and this is vertical, so this will be the end of our fly. So we'll insert that in the vise, then we'll get some thread and we'll start reinforcing the connection nice and tight. We'll do the smaller bucktail or the bigger marabou. I guess the smaller bucktail. Oh, we got to think about weight. We have to think about weight. We have the tail is not going to be weighted, so we don't have to think about that yet. But let's get, this was the dark over light. It's not bad, but let's change it up maybe to chartreuse is a little bit gaudy. Maybe we skip the bucktail and we go with the calf tail. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do the calf tail. This is a good color too. A nice gray. The middle. We have a darker gray and a lighter gray, and then a darker. Let's do the tail, the darkest. And take a chunk of that. Because we're doing calf tail, I'm going to tie it like this one, and I'm just going to replace the marabou with calf tail. Because the calf tail won't cover like the bucktail does. So we won't try to tie it like bucktail, we'll tie it like calf tail. And then we can insert, I'm gonna smush it around a bit. And I'm not gonna tie in any flash. The flash will be in the body here. Silver, we did silver last time. So this time we can do, because we're using a lighter, the gold is tempting me. I'm liking the gold. The gold is tempting me. So I'm pulling out some gold. If you want to be a little bit more precise, you could do a loop, but I don't care about precision. I want speed, so I'm just gonna roll the dubbing onto the thread really loose, and I'm not going to tighten it down. I'm just going to roll it onto the thread. We're going to lose some, but we're going to keep most. Then we're just going to wrap the body with this loose, and I have some space here. And then when I'm going to tease it gently, I'm not going to rip it, I want to tease it out gently. Tease it, and then draw it back. And there's enough in there now. It's not going anywhere. We'll do another small wing. Maybe with the lighter. I don't know, just do the same color. The wing slightly shorter than the tail. Trim your butts. Place the materials, cinch it down. The calf tail slips, so it's a good idea to put a drop of super glue. We could have done that on the tailing section. I'm not going to, but just be warned, calf tail likes to slip out. And we'll whip it. And that is our aft end of the, of the streamer. Cinch that down, trim it out, and kind of check it out. Looks okay. It's just a little streamer, and then we connect it to another streamer, and then we call it I think this hook is good. Oh, we have to weight it. What are we doing here? Need some beads. Oh, this is a big old bead. This is a 4.6 tungsten. This might be too much. And I don't know if I can get it on here. Yeah, the hook bend. It's not going around. I wonder if I can get a slotted bead on here. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp the barb because it's gonna get crimped anyway. And then we'll look, these are 4.0. Maybe a slotted bead will slide on that hook. I doubt it though. Slotted bead. Oh, we did it. Kind of. We got it halfway on the hook. Let's try to rotate it now. Yeah, it's on there. It's kind of on there sideways. So this is a warm water hook, just a small one. Trout hooks have a thinner wire. This will work fine as a trout hook, but there's no beads specifically designed. A cone, some of the cone head beads would fit on this hook. So I just threw a slotted bead used for a jig, and it was able to go around the thicker bend, but I had to rotate it so it's sitting sideways. But it's on there. I think it'll work. I think though I want it toward the middle or slightly back. I think that's where I want it. We'll see. We have to make a choice though. I'm gonna see how this works. Because I would like to build a head, and I need a little bit of space to do that. And essentially hide the bead. trim out. We need a little bit of mono for our articulation. The back is not load bearing, so it doesn't need to be super thick. It is going to be horizontal, so the tie-in should be vertical, on top rather, not on the side. I'm going to double it up. You don't, this is not necessary, but doubling it up will give you a tighter, snugger fit. I don't want a lot of wiggle. And trim that out, thread it on with the wing up top, and then loose 1, 2, 3. Then you can draw it tight and fit it in. And then we can wrap up toward the tie-in point to get a little bit snugger fit. We don't want a ton of wiggle on there. That seems good. I'm gonna go all the way down to the bead. This is gonna be very experimental here. My next move. I'm gonna super glue it. And I'm going to super glue the end, and then I'm going to jam the bead up onto the thread, and hopefully it'll stay until I can secure it better. I'm going to just jam it up there, and it seems like it's sticking. That's good. All right. I'm gonna do, I don't want 4 wing sections. If I do a wing section here and then another wing section here, it's 4 wing sections for a 2.5 inch fly. That's ridiculous. So instead I'm gonna do the gold and then the wing and then the head. That would be better. Raphael. Hello, Raphael. I'm sorry, I don't pay attention when I should, but I don't. So let's get some dubbing. That's a lot. We'll get our old dubbing that we had before. We'll roll it on. Loose, loose. Loose, loose, and then we can give it a wrap. Kind of wrapping it over itself. Or stop right before the bead, and then we can pick it out. Gently, don't tear. Come on. Tease it. Tease it. Tease it some more. Okay, and swoop her back. I'm gauging now how long I want the wing. Do I want to take it all the way back to the tail, or do I want to stop it about midway or at the start of the tail? I think I want to stop it about here. In terms of the amount, a little bit heavier than the previous sections, because this is the bulk of our body, about there. It gives us a nice taper down. Always consider the taper. Trim the butts. Get your thread ready. Go ahead and tight. Kind of work it around. You don't want to work it down all the way around, but on the side would be nice. Tight, and stop. I want to trim these pretty short because I'm going to start the head. How we're looking? Looking good. Okay, we want to blend some material for the head. I've got some loose dubbing here. This looks good. This is wool and synthetic flash mixed. I have some more kind of wool and synthetic mixed. That's good. And then we will blend it with that leftover gold that we had. I'll just try to blend that up nicely. Blender nice. Okay, there's a kind of big chunky piece. We don't want that. Take out a little bit. I'm going to roll it gently in my finger. I want to tie it mostly, most of the material up above. This isn't all solid, so it'll pull out. But I want it mostly toward the eye of the hook because I'm going to swoop it back. So loose, nice and loose, good distribution, tighten down. Let's do the belly. Same thing. You can go the same amount or slightly less. Down toward the belly. 1 wrap, 2 wraps. And then advance your thread. You can go over the bead, but I kind of don't like that. So I'm gonna whip it and then start again on top of the bead, or on the other side of the bead rather. This is going to get a lot of glue, so the head's going to be quite solid. Advance and then restart above. If this section of the head is up and down, I want this to be more encompassing. So I'm not even going to do bunches on top, bunches on the bottom. I'm going to just veil it on the hook, on the hook, and then loose wrap, just one tight, and then I'm going to advance, and I'm going to repeat, kind of thinning out my material, and then veil it on, tight wrap, and then advance, and now we're done. If you are a confident person, you can go ahead and tie off here. You have to make sure you got everything situated. Trim it out. Let's pick it out. If we did this correctly, we won't need to trim, ideally. And then we'll be able to hide the bead, ideally. pick it out. Tops and bottoms and sides. There's a chunk of like thread in there. Pick it out. Give it a swoop. See what we're working with. Yeah, that blends nicely in with our third wing. We're getting good color variation with the gray and the gold, but it's primarily gold, which is nice. I'm gonna pick a little bit more, try to thin it out. You don't need this much material on a fly. This is a lot of material. But if the fisherman likes the look, then maybe it fishes better. Pick it out a little bit more. Once you set the head, you won't be able to pick because it'll be all super glue. And the more you pick, the better the result will be. Okay. Let's give it a swoop. Preen it. Preen it. At this point, if you see some strays, you can knock them off the head. Kind of clean that up if you want. I think it's looking good. We're going to consider our eye placement. We want it slightly above the shank, not down toward the hook point. We don't want to block the hook point. The bead already is kind of impeding the hook point, not a ton. And we also want to consider the faux head, because that's what's going to give it the action. So in terms of the eye placement, it's going to be right about here and then right about there. I think a red eye, kind of oversized, is going to be the way to go. Do a little red eye and smooth out our landing zone. And start dropping our super glue. Just want it to soak in quite a bit. Take our eyeball, set it down, and then we set it. Not pressing too hard. Let the super glue cure with the synthetic and natural material. It'll start to harden. Sometimes it makes a chemical reaction, start smoking. But that seems good. Let's go to the other side. Clear out that landing zone. Start dropping. And that looks good. Set our eye. That's a little bit too forward. Let's kind of scoot it back. And then put a little bit of pressure on it. A little bit of pressure. Let's check our other one. It's not setting exactly. I think yeah, it's not setting perfectly, but I have faith. Let's put a drop on our toothpick and let's roll it up from the thread down. Let's roll it up the forehead and then hit the bottom. I'm gonna put a drop right between. I'm gonna put a drop on the forehead. And then maybe on the bottom. Okay, that's good. And I'm just gonna let this cure. And we'll check it later to see if it's set. If not, we just will have an eyeless streamer, which is perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I like it. I like the color. The back could be a little bit darker, but I think it's got plenty, definitely has plenty of flash. The right length, size and shape is the most important. Oh yeah, those eyes are getting, oh, maybe not. Or we're getting risky here. We gotta get it pressed back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's set. This one is acting up. And history has told me to just leave it alone. So we'll just leave it alone. All right, one streamer. Another something weighted would be good. I wonder if we can get that slotted bead on a bigger hook. Let's try. Pinch down our bar. Check out our bead. We might not need the slotted. Since the hook gap is bigger, maybe we can just go with that 4.6 on this bigger hook. No, it still doesn't want to go around the bend. The wire's too thick. Back to our bag of 4mm slots. We need to find one with a nice cavernous hole. That one's pretty good. Oh yeah, we did it. Now that it's on, we kind of rotate it so it's sitting sideways if we can, but maybe we can't. Oh. Does it rotate? It doesn't want to rotate for me. it's not rotating. It could sit there, but we're just gonna go with the smaller hook. Go with the smaller hook. Just pinch your barb. There we go. It's on there. It's pretty. Yeah, maybe people frown upon sliding slotted beads onto regular hooks. But the bead companies and the hook companies don't seem to. Well, what am I doing? We're making an articulated pattern. Let's get our 0.8 mil wire. We don't need a big articulation because our hook is small. But we do need to think about our pattern. One bend, and then two bends. That's quite a small articulation. That's okay. Close it. And I'm going to take some off of this side. Close the gap. I need to take some off of this side now. That's actually the same size shank you would buy in the fly shop. They sell the shanks about this size for the game changers. Game changer size shank. We could tie a game changer. Hello, Chris Bond. No, we're not gonna. What do we want to do? If we were gonna do the game changer, I'd want it on a bigger hook. Let me see here. Yeah, 2 articulations would bring us here. That's just ridiculous. So let's skip that. Let's get our shank prepped. Reinforce it with our thread. Don't cover the sharp ends. Let's think about what we want to do. Let's think about what we want to do. You got nice minnow pattern. Nice minnow pattern. Nice minnow pattern. We could do do a sculpin. Yeah, let's do it. I've never done this before. We're gonna do an articulated sculpin. Oh boy. I'm gonna use a zonker strip. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe so. I got some synthetic material here that I could use. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Olive zonker strip. Pretty haggard. I'm gonna tie this in. Pink is not the right color thread you want for this, but we're gonna use it. Tie that in. Come under. Need some body. I'll use this brown wool. This is synthetic craft store material. I'm going to tease some of it out. The fibers are quite long, so I'm going to rip them in half. Shorten them up. And then I'm going to blend it with some UV iced peacock eye. Not too much. And then I'm going to split my thread. Get a better split. There's a good split. And I'm gonna insert the dubbing blend into our material loop very lightly. And then I want to make sure the distribution's even. One point is not bulkier than the next, because that will impact my spin, my distribution spin. Spread it out. That's a little short. That's okay. I don't need to wrap all of it. I just need to wrap half of it. Spin it up. That's a good spin. Tease it out. People get fixated on sculpin's fins, but I'm going more shape. And then we can wrap our body. Plenty of material on there. We need to thin that out. Big time. Too much material. But really nice color. That coffee color is a good one. Let's pick that out. And then give it a swoop. Fold over our zonker strip. A little bit of glue on the zonker strip wouldn't hurt. Let's do it actually. Little drop there. Fold it over. Separate that hair. And then tie it down. Nice and tight. And that is our back sec. It's almost got like a double bunny look to it because that synthetic is quite full. That'll be the back section of our sculpin. We gotta tie this off. What are we doing? What are we doing? I tie that off. Let's check the time. We're doing okay. And then we whip it. And we whip it. The little pink highlights might give this all the fish catching power it needs. Taking some time to pick this out more would be better, but we'll do that later. Let's get our hook in. Again, a little space. Actually, no, we're gonna sit it flush. We'll sit it flush. We're gonna repeat the zonker step with the zonker on the back, dubbing blend on the bottom, but then we have to think about the head. And the head is wide on a sculpin, but we don't want too much material because it'll affect the sink rate. So building up a ton of material on the head is kind of silly. I think our tie-in was horizontal. Yes, it was. So we'll tie the mono on top. Bring it back around. Trim it out. You could pinch it and thread it through that way too. That works. 2 loose wraps, 3 loose wraps, 2, 3. Draw it in. Tighten it down. Not as long as I imagined it would be, but long enough. Long enough. And we'll wrap. Check our bead. Drop of glue on the articulation. And give that a smear. Zonker strip, where to go? Got our dubbing. Where is our strip? There it is. All right, just enough to finish. I'm gonna tie it in just a touch hanging over the articulation. So we'll bring it back, separate, just a touch, cinch it down, under material. I think it'll be enough. Split our thread. Insert into the loop. Our loop is quite small, which is a shame. But last time we had too much. Spread it around, spin it up, and let her go. One more time. Let her go. I'm not gonna pick it right now. I wanna see if it covers first. Give it a wrap, 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 wrap. We're good. And then we can, that'd be cool if we folded it over. That'd be real cool, actually. Yeah, let's try to do that. We'll try to fold it over the bead. Since we didn't pick and we wrapped it on itself, now we have to, bit of a mission here. Try to pick this out. Being a little rough with the pick, more so than I usually am. Okay, got the pick, swoop the part. What am I thinking? I'm thinking I normally don't like rubber legs on flies. However, given that this is a sculpin and we don't want to build up too much material, I think rubber legs would be perfect for this pattern. So I'm going to do 2 on each side. It'll give it a little bit more bulk, but save us the material cost. Because if we add more material, it will ruin the sink rate. Okay, 2 on that side. Let's get 2 on the other side. I didn't let the thread unwind, now the thread's going crazy. Let's get 2 on the other side. And I'll swoop them back. Tie them in. A little bit of thread buildup there, which is not good, but let's go ahead and I'm just experimenting now what it would look like if I tied off here and trimmed off this. It looks like a bead-headed fly. I need to work on this leg. Making sure this leg is tied back. There we go. I think the game is gonna be I'm gonna put a drop. Ooh, we got it on our synthetic. That's okay. Fold it over nice and tight. Separate. Cinch. I'm gonna put a drop on our thread. More than a drop, holy mackerel. And then I'm gonna wet my finger so I can get a good separation here. And sink that right into the and then I'll trim out. And now advance my thread to our hook eye. This is going to be very delicate. Maybe even a mono thread would be good. No, we'll go with the pink. Keep with the pink. Tie it in, keeping most of that fur. And let's just see what this looks like. That also doesn't look very cool. Nope. What to do? I'm gonna scrap it. I'm gonna clip this. And then we'll restart here. And we'll try to get a little bit of our synthetic going. Just a little bit. Let's blend it with our peacock. If we split spin, can we spin over the bead? It's a risk, but let's try. Let's try. Split our thread, insert the material, spread it out, spin it up. I'm going to start teasing before I wrap, just to make it a little bit more manageable. try to thin this out a little bit. Thin it out. Start wrapping right over those legs. And over the bead, we did it. All right, let that unwind. Let's actually lock it one more time because I'm gonna start picking this. Oh, the bottom doesn't get covered very well. And we're getting real close to that hook eye. Let's whip it. And I don't think you're gonna want eyes on this. It'll start to get too complicated. We barely have enough room to thread the hook, but it's enough, but just barely. Pick out, do some serious picking. All right, and our bead isn't fully covered. We have more of a fat leech than a sculpin. But I think it'll fish. In fact, I know it will. Thin it out a bit. Definitely will want a drop of glue on that thread head. Clear the eye one more time. I mean, it's a cool pattern, it needs to be bigger. It'll work. It'll work. Maybe you go chartreuse on the legs. If anything, you could swing that. I think you could swing that pretty well. Thin this out a bit more. We have enough bulk, we didn't need the rubber legs. We built up enough bulk. All right, what was the other thing we were gonna do? Some nymphs. Let's check our time. Yeah, I think we have a time enough for a couple nymphs. third thread going. Let's get some, this is good size. This is a 12. Lost hook. 3.8s or 2.8s. Go with the 2s. And 2.8. Oh, here's something. This vinyl rib, I'll use this vinyl rib. It doesn't hold up very well. I say that as we use it. But the thread under the vinyl rib looks real nice. Let's do a little bit softer tail. We'll use this mallard. Maybe six fibers of the mallard, not too much. That's a good length. We'll travel it up because we want to keep that uniform body. Trim it off. Vinyl rib. No, the vinyl rib is good. Like the Crystal Tech or like there's some other material that the flies just keep falling apart over time. I'm talking a couple years in the box, they start breaking down. But this stuff's pretty good. It lies flat, so I want to tie it in right on top flat, starting at the top, and then I'm going to pull it, give it some tension. Travel it back up, and then we wrap nicely. You're gonna want to make that abdomen nice and long, utilizing that material. But I'm gonna go short abdomen, thicker thorax. Give it a tug, trim it out, lock it in, roll it over. Do wing case, and then we'll do some kind of leg material. I'm thinking just the hairs here. For the wing case, we'll do this turkey, or I had another turkey feather that a little bit lighter color. Here's a good one. It's a fresh turkey. This is nice and malted, but the pattern's a little bit wider. I like the speckled side of the feather better. The tips are weird, but I'm gonna pull out about yay much. Trim it out, set it to the side, and then crazy enough, maybe we can incorporate those fluffy little feathers into as our legs. Let me think about how we do this. That means I want to fold it over this way and tie it in backwards, like so. Gauge the length of the legs. Go ahead, tie it in all the way up and then all the way back, 50%. Legs are going to be long. Trim it out. Maybe pheasant tail is better for this. Late to the party, but what wire are you using? For the nymph, I'm not using a wire. I'm using a UTC product called vinyl rib. Hairs there. A little bit of hairs there. Ooh, olive might be good. Olive might be the ticket here. A little bit of olive hairs here. Roll it and kind of break it up in my finger, and we'll roll it onto our thread. That's enough. Travel a little bit over the wing case and then up toward the bead. Gather the wing case. Slightly too long for the legs. Get some tension on that wing case. And then once we have it, we can split our legs 50-50. Travel one side down, get the other bunch. And then travel the other side down. And then we have little leggies from the wing case. And then we clean it up. Give it a whip. Cinch down the whip and do one more. cinch it down, and then we can trim it out. Okay. Olive was not the right color because the abdomen is red thread over olive vinyl rib, but the result is more of a reddish brown. So we should have done, something else. Olive was not the right color. Or we should have changed the thread. That is a good call. We'll try it again with a yellower thread underneath, and maybe it'll highlight that olive a little bit better. Okay, let's try one more time. And then we get our bead, 2.8. And slide her on. Lock her in. Secure the bead. I also am going to try for a little bit better taper on the abdomen, which means building up the thread more. Right here. Okay. I liked the mallard for the legs, or for the tail. I thought that was good, so we'll continue with that. Little mallard flank. You could do biot as well, but the short mallard flank is a nice tailing material. Travel it down, get our length. That's a little long, but it'll do. Travel it up, travel it down. I'm trying to get the build up, and then travel it back. So I'm using the material for the tail to build up the body. Trim it out. Lock it in. Maybe you can't even notice. Maybe you can't even notice. Vinyl rib up top. Give it a pull. Lock it in. Start the wrap. Definitely more olive. I'm gonna stop it there. Give it a trap. Tug and tie off. Flip her over. That's about where we are. Turkey. I'm gonna go a little bit heavier than we did last time, and we'll still do the wing case leg combo. A little bit heavier, maybe, yeah, just a little bit heavier. Eyeball the length of the leg, which is about there. Tie in the wing case. Travel back. Chop off the wing case. Olive dubbing. Dub the thorax. A little bit more. And then gather the wing case. Fold it over. Trap and tension. Lock it in. Yeah, you can a little bit better taper for the abdomen, just slightly. Then I'm gonna separate our legs. (50-50), 60-40. Trap one side, and then, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Trap the other side. I want to trap it more onto the side, so I'm going to gather it down and give it 2 wraps. 1, 2. Still poking up on the side. Give it 2 more wraps. One, 2. A little bit better. Whip it. One, 2, 3. This is quite a thin thread, so be careful when you're cinching down the whip. And that is a nice little olive Mayflat nymph. How many materials did we use? Mallard, vinyl rib, turkey, dubbing. 4 materials. More than I would like. Let's check our streamer that we tied earlier, see if those eyeballs set. Here's the first streamer that we tied. It's articulated with calf tail and gold flash, and then the head is a blend, a dubbing blend with just the leftovers. The thing we were concerned about is the eye. They're both set well, nice and solid. So this was a good tie. The material's very light. You could throw that on a 3-weight, no problem. The next fly we tied was a bit of an experiment. We did another articulated pattern with a zonker. This one has a bead hidden in there. We used a slotted bead on our regular hook, and then we did an articulation with rabbit zonker and brown synthetic, and we just repeated that. We added some rubber legs, but the turnout was iffy because the hook was too small. It should have been bigger, and the pattern should have been larger. So it's kind of a stubby little something. We tied 2 nymphs. First, we did a red thread with the olive vinyl rib over the top, and then olive dubbing with a turkey. Let me see if I can rotate that. A turkey wing case, but we folded the legs. We tried to incorporate the legs. We were a little light on the wing case and the abdomen, so there's not a lot of taper on that nymph. It'll fish fine. It just looks a little stupid. The second one we changed to an olive thread. I significantly shortened the abdomen. We still use the vinyl rib over the lighter yellowish thread, and then we did the same thing with the turkey and the dubbing for the thorax and wing case. But the result was a little bit different because we went heavier. So this is a more aesthetically pleasing tie for the angler. Both will fish exactly the same, I think. But it's just differentiations of look. So there it is. That's it for today. Went a little bit longer than normal, but I had fun. See you next time.